I've spent the last 111 hours analyzing every episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, and let's just say, in legal terms, things are not looking so great for Patrick Star.
If you can't do the time, don't do the crime.
I'll be ranking the Pink Starfish's crimes from laughably petty to crimes heinous enough to make even the Flying Dutchman shiver in his boots. To start with, let's talk about the time Patrick literally destroyed a whole carnival. It all happened during that Valentine's Day episode when SpongeBob promised Patrick a special surprise.
It's the greatest, the bestest, the most fantabulous.
SpongeBob put some great thought into this. Honestly, you gotta give him some credit.
Take me through the plan again.
Okay, step 1. Patrick and I get to the Valentine's Day Carnival. Step 3. You arrive at designated checkpoint for maximum visual contact. Step 4. Patrick is thrilled. Mission accomplished.
And while Sandy was busy crafting the hot air balloon made entirely of chocolate, SpongeBob kept Patrick busy. But wait, why isn't Sandy showing up?
SpongeBob, we got ourselves a little problem. I got a pack of chocolate-eating scallops trying to wrestle a balloon.
Of course, it's going to the scallops, because we all know scallops love chocolate, and SpongeBob isn't always the best at thinking on his toes. With Patrick getting visibly agitated, SpongeBob tries to defuse the situation by offering Patrick a handshake.
What's that?
A handshake, a friendly handshake.
Seriously, SpongeBob, after all that hype? It might have just worked if it wasn't for everyone telling Patrick about the amazing gifts SpongeBob had given them. Talk about rubbing salt on his wounds.
I wanted to thank you for this box of chocolates.
No problem, Fran.
I mean, even though I was expecting more.
Thanks for the roses, SpongeBob. Happy Valentine's Day.
You too, Dave.
And not that it matters that we've been friends for so
Hey,
long.
SpongeBob. Thanks for the bike. Can you believe this guy? I just met him this morning.
Overcome with jealousy and rage, he goes on a rampage, destroying everything in sight. The guy at the balloon stand. The guy just trying to check the time.
Excuse me, do you guys have the time?
Patrick needs love too!
Even the innocent Valentine's Day mascot.
I defy you, Heartman!
They all become victims of Patrick's tantrum. Oh, Patrick, when will you learn to control that temper of yours? Never! It's been like 20 plus seasons. That'll never happen. Now, not only is this childish behavior, but it's also considered vandalism in the Marshall Islands, where Bikini Bottom is situated. For these offenses against beauty, order, and the environment, Patrick's facing some serious consequences. We're gonna charge $5,000 for the Carnival Rampage. Those balloons were not cheap. Assault and battery charges on the minimum wage mascot guy have 2,100 hours to clean up the carnival mess. Next up, we witness the relentless torment Patrick inflicts on Bikini Bottom's grumpiest resident, Squidward Tentacles. As you all may know, Squidward just wants some peace and quiet, but it seems like Patrick's got other plans. Whether it's using his clarinet as a toilet plunger.
But we're gonna need a new toilet plunger. This one's broken.
Patrick! Barging into his house unannounced. Or just generally being a nuisance.
I'll go first.
What did you do?
Patrick's relentless antics would definitely qualify as harassment in the real world. Someone should get Squidward a restraining order. Poor, poor Squidward. The constant torment he endures at the hands of, or rather the stubby arms of Patrick Star is enough to drive anyone to madness. But wait, let's just hear what Squidward has to say about this.
You call yourselves good neighbors? You're the worst neighbors ever!
Yep, that makes everything clear. It's time for Patrick to learn some boundaries. For this relentless harassment, Patrick's looking at a potential fine of $500 and some mandatory community service time, up to 30 hours. Oh, and let's not forget that restraining order to keep him away from Squidward. As if harassment wasn't bad enough already, in the episode The Survival of the Idiots, Patrick ends up mistaking hibernation for an open invitation. This is a classic episode, dude. It's a chilly winter day in Bikini Bottom, and Sandy's tucked away in her tree dome for a long winter's nap. But what do SpongeBob and Patrick decide to do when they see a big, bold keep out sign? Well, break in, of course.
Sandy? Hey, Sandy! What's with the sign?
Now, Sandy even left a video message for SpongeBob telling him that she didn't want to be disturbed at all. Pretty clear instructions, right?
If y'all are watching this, that Spongebob.
But Patrick completely ignores the warning and pushes Spongebob, who is, by the way, very reluctant, into the tree dome. And to make it even worse, he says this.
He said not to come in. Let's amscray.
When are you gonna learn, SpongeBob? No means yes.
Okay, Patrick, that's quite a character reveal there. Not only is this trespassing, but it's also incredibly just rude to interrupt someone's beauty sleep. But trespassing is just the tip of the iceberg here. Once inside, Patrick and SpongeBob proceed to wreak havoc on Sandy's winter wonderland.
Ow!
I'm Dirty Dan.
I'm Dirty Dan.
I'm Dirty Dan. I'm Dirty Dan.
I'm Dirty Dan. Oh!
And even try to burn the bark off her treehouse.
We'll burn the bark from Sandy's tree.
Yeah, I forgot that happened. I was very shocked upon rewatch. And if that wasn't even enough, they rip off all of Sandy's fur to stay warm. That part I remember.
No!
Sandy eventually wakes up to find her home in complete shambles, and the two of them dressed in her fur. That's gotta warrant some emotional distress compensation, right? Like, I don't know what does if that doesn't. So for this blatant disregard for personal space, private property, and just basic common sense, Patrick specifically is looking at around $17,000 in fines, plus facing up to 2 years in jail for trespassing and the obvious assault on poor Sandy. You just know you're Patrick Star when your words of wisdom end up getting your friends mauled by seagulls. It all started innocently enough, where a friendly chat turns into a contest between sea creatures and Sandy.
She says land creatures are best.
Only 'cause it's true. We're best at horse riding and fur styling and rowing.
And after trying to prove that land creatures are better than sea creatures, Sandy challenges Mr. Krabs, Squid, SpongeBob, and Patrick to survive a minute on her turf.
You're such hot stuff, don't you? Swimming around with your fancy gills and such. But none of you wetheads would last a minute on my turf. Dry land.
Patrick, of course, can't resist stirring the pot, so he pressures SpongeBob along with the others into venturing onto dry land, ignoring the dangers involved.
Hey, we are not chicken. My popcorn.
Yeah, we're not chicken. We'll do it.
Now, even though Patrick isn't the only one involved here, his actions can definitely be deemed as negligent endangerment for pressuring SpongeBob to head straight first into a dangerous situation.
We're not afraid of your dumb old land.
Yeah!
We're sea creatures.
Yeah!
Okay.
Despite their hesitations, everyone heads to the surface, and at first they seem fine, exploring and even chatting up a couple of seagulls. But of course, things quickly take a turn for the worst, and the seagulls become aggressive, chasing everyone across the beach in a chaotic frenzy. It's only thanks to Sandy that they escape back into the water, narrowly avoiding serious harm.
Holy guacamole! You can't eat my friends, you rats with wings!
Patrick's reckless actions, though not his alone, put his friends in danger and led to actual harm. In the real world, he'd face a negligent endangerment charge. We're talking about a $20,000 fine and 3 years in jail. Maybe that'll finally teach Patrick that his impulsive behavior has real consequences. I mean, we wonder why he never has any character development throughout the whole series. We all know someone who's let a little power go straight to their head, right? Insert any retail manager here. Well, Patrick's brief reign as king of Bikini Bottom is a perfect example of that, times 100. In fact, it's the same episode where he mentions that he's got tons of books that he never returned to the library.
Patrick, what are you doing?
No, I have to get rid of these books.
Why?
I'll show you why. See him? He's from the library. He knows about my overdue books.
Oh!
Maybe not a super crime, but we'll keep that on the list of potential charges. Anyway, turns out absolute power corrupts absolutely, even if you're a starfish with questionable intelligence. It all started when a starfish minister showed up with some surprising news.
Even if I did know this alleged starfish, Patrick wouldn't know any overdue library books.
Well, it's too bad you don't know Patrick Star, because I am from the Royal Ministry. I have a gift for him.
Patrick was descended from royalty, making him the rightful king. Of course, Patrick being Patrick immediately thought the crown was edible.
This is the worst tasting gift ever.
But once he understood its real purpose, you can definitely see he wasn't the most humble ruler.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm sure King Patrick could use this walker.
I hope so. Neptune knows I did. Oh!
I need your opinion on something. Do you think the giant flat-screen TV should go over the fancy egg display or the indoor swimming pool?
Suddenly, Bikini Bottom was under the rule of King Patrick, where he demanded tribute from his subjects. Refused to pay for his Krabby Patties.
Hey, can I get a little more ketchup?
How's about you pay the check instead?
Oh, sorry, Mr. Krabs. As King of Bikini Bottom, I am allowed to have anything I want. Isn't that right, SpongeBob?
That is correct. Anything you want, and it's all free.
And even stole a Fish's comic book collection. That's where I draw the line, honestly.
Mom's gonna be so proud of me.
No, she won't be, because these comic books are mine.
But I spent my entire life collecting those.
But you see, my dear viewer, the crimes didn't stop there. Patrick forced others to build him a grand rock castle, and even went as far as to move Squidward's house without his permission.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Just perfect.
Back. Yeah, that's good.
What's happened to my... SpongeBob, Patrick. What the barnacles is going on here? Look at my poor front yard.
Your front yard?
His Royal Highness is building a royal Ferris wheel.
Ferris wheel?
Just to make room for a Ferris wheel? Honestly, that's not an abuse of power. That's a legit move. Eventually, even SpongeBob had enough of Patrick's tyrannical behavior and abandoned his post as royal servant. Patrick, realizing the error of his ways, finally lets go of the throne.
A knock-knock joke. Who's there? You. I don't get it. I'm you, and you are me. What have I become? Monster! Oh, dang it, I don't want it anymore! It's turned me into a monster!
Patrick's royal antics would hit him with around $16,000 in fines and 4 years behind bars. The theft, abuse of power, and tax evasion stacks up quickly, along with some solid jail time for his short-lived reign. If you're like me, you probably definitely remember Nature Pants as a classic episode where SpongeBob decided to ditch his job and live amongst the jellyfish in Jellyfish Fields.
Hey, SpongeBob, you having a garage sale?
No, Sandy, I'm giving up my material possessions to live in the wild with the jellyfish.
Why would you want to live among the jellyfish?
Well, while SpongeBob was embracing his newfound freedom, Patrick was having a full-blown meltdown.
I'll give him a week.
I'll give him 11 minutes.
Patrick sad!
He just couldn't handle the thought of losing his best friend, so he hatched a, let's say, unique plan to bring SpongeBob back. Armed with SpongeBob's trusty jellyfish net, Patrick set out to capture him and drag him back to Bikini Bottom himself.
What are you doing?
In his frantic quest, Patrick becomes more and more unhinged, eventually attempting to trap SpongeBob in a whole jar. Dude, really, Patrick? Putting your best friend in a jar? That's a clear case of false imprisonment. Cut and dry.
If I can't have you as a friend, I'm gonna make you a trophy. I even picked out this nice jar for you.
Thankfully, our pal SpongeBob managed to evade capture, but for his misguided attempt to keep SpongeBob safe, Patrick could be facing a fine of $5,000 and up to 5 years in prison. That's a pretty steep price for not letting go. We're at the halfway point here, and Patrick's already looking at 14 years behind bars and enough fines to make even Squilliam consider flipping Krabby Patties. But now we're about to plunge into the depths of Patrick's criminal record, where the crimes are darker, the consequences are harsher, and the jail time more. Look, let's just say Patrick might be trading his rock for a cell block. If you've got a pet, you know that they are basically just a part of the family, an extension of yourself. Leaving them under Patrick's supervision and care, is not something you want to do. Unfortunately for SpongeBob, in the episode Pet Sitter Pat, SpongeBob ends up entrusting his best friend with the care of Gary while he attends his grandmother's birthday party. What could possibly go wrong if you leave your beloved pet with Patrick Star? Well, if you've been following along by now, or if you've seen the show, you definitely already know the answer to this. Everything, absolutely everything. Not off to a great start either.
Okay, Patrick, here you are. It's a chronological list of all the things you have to do with Gary. Make sure you do each and every one.
The trouble begins the second SpongeBob walks out of the door. I'm not even kidding. Patrick, in classic fashion, throws away the detailed care schedule SpongeBob provided because, surprise, surprise, he can't read it. And shockingly, holding it upside down don't help either.
I wonder what we should do first. You need to work on your handwriting, SpongeBob. I don't need this anyway.
Things go downhill quickly as Patrick attempts to feed Gary by taste testing all the snail food himself.
Step aside, Barry. Ooh, let me try a bite of this. Good stuff.
Gary, understandably horrified, is left hungry and confused. Patrick's next bright idea? A bath. When Gary refuses to cooperate, Patrick tries to give him a bath using, wait for it, a flamethrower. Yeah, that's right. Patrick goes from underfeeding Gary to nearly burning him alive. To top it all off, he floods the house by leaving the sink and bathtub on, creating an oceanic disaster right inside the comfort of SpongeBob's home.
Gary! Bob, what's the matter, buddy?
By the time SpongeBob returns, his house is flooded, Gary's somehow survived Patrick's bizarre attempts at care, and I think it goes without saying, in the real world, this level of pet negligence could land Patrick a fine of $1,000 and 4 years in jail. Not exactly a responsible pet sitter, is he? Patrick definitely isn't someone that you would trust behind the wheel either. I mean, I'd rather trust SpongeBob with my ride, and he's failed the test 57 times now. In driven to tears, Patrick finally gets his boating license, and what do you think he does with it? How about speeding?
Let's see what this baby can do.
Patrick, the speed limit is 40 miles per hour.
Yeah.
40.5 miles per hour. That's almost 41 miles per hour. He's speeding. Patrick, stop this car!
Okay, that was just SpongeBob overreacting. But then he immediately goes on a reckless joyride, swerving wildly and running red lights as he narrowly misses other vehicles and pedestrians.
Patrick, you just ran 3 red lights!
So?
But Patrick's joyride does not stop there. Oh no, according to SpongeBob, he even makes an illegal U-turn through an orphanage. And somehow the police just let him get away with it.
I think the driving genius knows what he's doing.
Driving genius? What a genius make an illegal U-turn through an orphanage?
They ran for it in time. What are you so mad about?
So yeah, he's been running from a police officer that tries to stop him for littering, quote unquote, even though it was kind of SpongeBob, but we don't talk about that.
Ooh, I got me a runner.
Patrick, what do you think you're doing?
I don't know. I don't have a license anymore.
For this blatant disregard for the safety of others, though, Patrick's license is getting revoked faster than he can say wumbo. Between speeding, evading police, and causing potential harm, Patrick would be fined $2K and could face up to 7 years in jail, depending on his prior visits to the Bikini Bottom court. And the judge in the actual episode really just slaps him on the wrist, only sentencing him for 90 days. Anywho, maybe sticking to walking would be a safer option for him. It's one thing to try and help a friend, but it's another to impersonate a medical professional. In the episode Suds, SpongeBob comes down with the cleaning products version of the flu. Rather than call a real doctor, Patrick takes matters into his own hands, claiming to have all the medical expertise needed.
You gotta help me get better, Patrick. Please? Would you like to be my doctor, Patrick?
What else are friends for?
And Patrick's treatment plan?
It appears as though we'll have to plug up these holes. This ought to do the trick. Voila! Feel better?
I don't know.
Help! I'm shrinking!
But it doesn't end there. When Sandy shows up to try and get SpongeBob real medical help, Patrick stubbornly insists that his treatment is working. His misguided confidence in his doctoring skills leads to even more chaos.
You can't take him to the doctors!
Don't be silly, Patrick!
He's mine! I'll save you!
Better, guys! Really?
Including SpongeBob's corks popping off like cannonballs, causing complete destruction everywhere. Luckily, Sandy knows what's up.
Now look what you've done, Patrick!
What I've done? Everything was fine until you showed up.
You should be arrested for impersonating a doctor.
SpongeBob eventually makes it to a real doctor at the hospital where Patrick gets a bit of his deserved punishment after faking the suds.
Hey, Doc! I got the suds, too!
Oh, yes. We have a special treatment for you.
Hey! Wait! This doesn't seem right!
So yeah, this would definitely land him in huge trouble. Not the faking the suds part, well that too, but impersonating a doctor. That comes with a potential fine of $20,000 and up to 7 years in prison. It is no joke. He really did deserve that cactus scrub. Oh no, now there's a new menace on the loose, and his name is Patrick Star, the Karate Kraken, fueled by a newfound love for karate.
Hey! I want to learn how to do that!
Well, what, you mean karate?
Uh-huh.
And a complete lack of self-control.
Now this is very easy. Watch closely. You got it?
Definitely.
Patrick embarks on a destructive spree, leaving a trail of splintered wood.
I don't feel so good.
Shattered glass.
Hey, look, it's Patrick!
Hiya, SpongeBob!
What are you doing in there?
And terrified citizens in his wake.
What you got there?
You want a bite?
No! It's more fun to chop. I win!
But the real kicker? Patrick's rampage is actually unstoppable. His arm gains a mind of its own, leaving a path of destruction wherever it goes.
You've gotta stop, buddy. You're destroying the entire town.
Freeing prisoners.
You got it, buddy. No more karate chops.
Destroying a bargain mart.
Not the muffin display!
He even accidentally chops off his own hand.
No! I'll never forgive you!
Only to have it grow back into a second Patrick. I didn't know he could do that.
Your arm!
Don't worry, SpongeBob. My limbs grow back. See?
Great job, Patrick. I like the architectural detail.
Hey!
I thought you gave up chopping.
Oh, I did. Unfortunately, we sea stars have limbs that grow new bodies. Hey!
This little escapade could result in charges for property destruction, freeing prisoners, and reckless endangerment. This karate-fueled chaos would land him 30 years in prison and $100,000 in fines. His lawyer's gonna have quite the legal mess to clean up. Patrick's antics are usually harmless fun. Usually. But sometimes his reckless behavior has some fatal consequences. In the episode House Fancy, Patrick makes an unexpected stop at Squidward's house with an urgent request.
Hang on, please! Please, just one more minute, Nick!
Who's Nick? Sorry, Squidward, I couldn't wait any longer. I gotta use your toilet. No questions. Thanks.
Squidward, already stressed from competing with his arch-nemesis Squilliam on a TV show, reluctantly lets him in. Patrick's visit turns deadly for Squidward's sentient toilet. That's right, the poor toilet actually comes to life, only to stumble out of the bathroom.
Please, please, somebody put me out of my misery.
Collapse dramatically into Squidward's arms and die. Whatever Patrick did in there, and let's not think too hard about that, the damage is done. Now, while Patrick didn't directly cause this death, his careless actions played a major role in it. If we consider Squidward's sentient toilet as a legal entity, this could be classified as involuntary manslaughter. For such reckless behavior, Patrick could face up to 25 years in prison and fines totaling $50,000, all for killing a toilet. You'd think guarding a supervillain frozen in a block of tartar sauce would be easy, right? Well, it should be. You can leave it to Patrick and Spongebob to take a simple job like babysitting the Mermalair and turn it into a supervillain's getaway. It all starts when Patrick and Spongebob are given one job, just one. Don't touch anything in the Mermalair.
When we say don't touch anything, we mean don't touch anything.
Loud and clear, trusted boy companion.
But Patrick, being Patrick, does this.
I have so many questions to ask him.
And let's just pause right here already, real quick, okay? Releasing a dangerous criminal, especially one with the history of Man Ray, would be a serious crime in any world. You don't just let supervillains out for fun. Releasing a known villain could easily land Patrick in prison for 5 to 10 years, but of course Patrick is completely oblivious to the threat. Man Ray tries to go after his liberators, only to be controlled by Spongebob with the tickle belt.
You fools, prepare to be eradicated! What is this infernal contraption?
Realizing that his captors are two of the most gullible sea creatures in existence, he fakes repentance and convinces Patrick and Spongebob to fully release him.
Oh, sob. Oh, cry. Oh, how I wish to be good. If only some kind heroes would show me the path to decency.
But here's where it gets interesting. Armed with a tickle belt, the only thing keeping Man Ray at bay, Spongebob and Patrick try to rehabilitate the villain by teaching him how to be good. In one of the most ridiculous training scenes in TV history, Patrick teaches Man Ray how to return a lost wallet with disastrous results.
Excuse me, sir, but I do believe you've dropped your wallet.
Doesn't look familiar to me.
What?
Oh, it's not mine.
It is yours. I am trying to be a good person and return it to you.
Return what to who?
And this is your ID. And if that's the case, this must be your wallet.
That makes sense to me.
Then take it.
It's not my wallet.
Patrick's endless, nonsensical refusal to admit that it's his own wallet pushes Man Ray to the edge. Yet every time Man Ray tries to lash out, boom, tickle belt, right there to keep him in check. For now.
Oh, you dimbulb! Take back your wallet or I'll rip your arms off!
Wrong. Good people don't rip other people's arms off.
But as always, things go south fast. After a series of lessons involving heavy boxes.
Hello, friend! I noticed you were struggling with that package. Would you like some help with... Ow! Ah!
No! SpongeBob! Tickle him!
And tickling revenge.
I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 100. What is it?
62?
Wrong!
Hey, Patrick, that's got nothing to do with being good.
Let go of it, SpongeBob!
Pat, we've got to use it only when he's bad.
Let go!
SpongeBob unlocks the tickle belt.
It's graduation day, Man Ray. Just look at him, Patrick.
Fully unleashing Man Ray's true evil nature. And with absolutely zero hesitation, the dude immediately steals a power glove, zaps SpongeBob and Patrick, and just makes a run for it.
Good people have no use for weapons such as...
The only thing I'm good at is being evil. So long, suckers!
Congratulations, Patrick! You've just helped a supervillain escape! Your prize? Jail time! At least it should have been. However, in a hilarious twist, Man Ray's villainous plans are thwarted not by our heroes, but by the lingering sensation of the tickle belt.
Everybody stand right where you are. I want you to, No! No! Stop giggling, or I'll have to...
Which has just somehow stuck with him. It's that traumatic for the dude. His attempt to rob a bank turns into him opening a checking account instead.
I guess I'll just open a checking account.
As the phantom tickles leave him too distracted to commit any crimes, maybe, just maybe, Patrick's lessons worked after all? In the real world, releasing a known criminal, especially a dangerous one like Man Ray, like a super dangerous one, could land Patrick up to like 35 years in prison. Next time, Patrick should just probably think twice before pressing any buttons. So totaling all of Patrick's fines and jail time all up into one, Pat's looking at a staggering $230,000 in fines and 125 years in the Bikini Bottom Big House. But how does this shady character compare? Click the video on screen to find out. Thank you for watching.